I will be posting every day on this channel. The reason I took so long to turn that light on and wasted the valuable time of the beginning of the video, this critical period where the user decides if they want to click on or click off, is because I want the bulk of the videos, or the viewers, to click off this video. I don't want this video to get a lot of views. That might seem counterintuitive, but this video is a symbol of what I've done. Okay, now I feel confident that there's nobody on this video right now. And if you're on this video, it's because I've already established credibility with you. You know something about me that the normal person who might see this video during the first week of its posting doesn't. And that's because I've built my brand. I've built my business. And you're watching this video to see what my mindset was during the time you're alive now. I know for certain that I will be referencing this video many times in the future. And it's not because I was a marvelous speaker or that there's anything remarkable about this video in and of itself. I simply couldn't sleep because I had too much caffeine today. I went out, I had my morning 8 o'clock routine caffeine. I'm in Seoul now, spending the semester abroad. I'm a student in my last year. And then later I had an energy drink before the gym, and at about 2 o'clock I had some bubble tea, which turned out to be coffee, a latte, coffee latte. Anyway, let's get to the point. I was consistent. I was consistent in the results. No. I was consistent in the system I put out there. The results were far from consistent. I had 100 views, tens of views, didn't make a lot of money here and there, right? That's the system. How can I speak on something that hasn't existed yet? Because I know how it works. I already know how it works. This is how it will work for me, and this is how it is or will work for you. The results will be inconsistent. The only thing that matters is the system. And if you can detach yourself from the results and simply work on the system and refining the system, not refining it based on what people tell you, not refining it based on views, but on value, right? That's one of the things I emphasize. I hope I still emphasize this, maybe in a different shape or form, but I'm certain I still emphasize value-driven content and not viral-chasing content. There's a distinct difference in that value-driven content attracts less viewers. But it's funny because monkey see, monkey do, right? So if you put out high value, low production, low post-production content, you'll get less viewers. And to most people, you see the viewers, and that's the only thing you can think of. Because that's the only metric that YouTube puts when you see a video on the homepage. There's no value score from 0 to 10, right? Oh, this guy's value is 6.9, 4.20. There is no value. It's just how long ago it was posted and the view count. And so that's the reason that this video didn't do any numbers. It ran no numbers because, one, I have no credibility to the viewer. This channel I made tomorrow, right? Tomorrow. This is the first video on it. Nobody wants to listen to me because I have no credibility. In the future, when I rent out nice Airbnbs to imply the credibility or to show there's something I've done to grab the viewer and get their attention, then naked viewers, in that they've never seen my page before, will be attracted to click on the video. And maybe perhaps that's what you're doing now. Most likely not. Most likely you already know my brand and you've come from another channel. But by posting on this channel, I'm developing a natural mechanism by which I hold myself accountable. And moreover, I share my personality with the internet in a way that the viewers will see something about me, will see something in themselves that they may notice in me, some of my tendencies, my human thought patterns, my displays, my actions, my speaking tendencies, right? They can see something in them. You know, I can't even sleep today. That's why I'm up. My hair looks terrible. My hairline is balding. Let me tell you a secret. I got a new finasteride medication prescription. Finasteride blocks hair loss. Essentially, if we could put it in one sentence, finasteride blocks the process that causes hair loss. And I got a different one, which is also 1 milligram, but it's by a different company, something along those lines. And you wouldn't expect it to be the same, right? Like 2 45-pound plates at the gym, you expect it to be the same, but they're off, right? And I guess my body's reacting in a different way. I noticed a lot of hair shedding, and I was like, how could this be? And I looked up, look at that right there. And I looked it up, and I realized, by the way, I hope I'm not bald in the future, that it's probably because I'm taking a different prescription. So I have the OG one here that I'm going to start taking again. The thing about that, though, is that the hair loss, it doesn't just stop going away the moment you take it. It starts going away after 30, 60 days, and then it starts rebuilding. You know, but if you take it periodically here and there, your hair will leave you. And I love my hair. I do attribute it to some sense of value in myself. I like how I look, how I can portray myself. I like how I can use it as modern art. You know, it takes no effort, but it's a huge display of myself. It has everything to do with how you portray yourself, and that is everything. That's the reason that this video in the first year or a few months got no views, 10 max, 10 max. And that's why now it has more than that. When you're watching, there are probably hundreds, thousands, not hundreds of thousands, hundreds, comma, thousands of views that have been on this video. And they haven't come from the initial period. They've come because I've already established my reputation. And in the future, when I'm performing to be seen, essentially, to grab the viewer, not using these retention hacks, but displaying and showing myself that I'm a man of my word, speaking from what cannot be spoken, speaking through what cannot be transmitted, right? Normally, in conversation, that's someone's body language. That's the way they dress themselves, their smell, their hygiene, these kinds of things. But the background is how you do that on YouTube. And that's what a lot of these gurus are doing. You know what it is? I'm not wearing my glasses. Let me tell you something. I'm starting my last. Let me tell you something. I'm starting my last year of school in 1 week. I have 1 year to establish myself, to prove to myself that I can do this. I can build a brand. I can make money online doing what I like. And that's activating the potential in other people, activating and enabling others to pursue their passions, passions that were stowed away between embers of a dying flame. Deceased dreams. You know what the loneliest thing is? The loneliest thing is not a broken heart. The loneliest thing is not a single tree. The loneliest thing is visiting. You will find the loneliest thing at the cemetery of forgotten dreams. Because amidst all the noise that these dreams had, they were filled with life, filled with hope. And because they were filled with these things of future benefits, they were filled with prosperity. Because when we envision success in the future, we manifest it in the present, right? That's why right now I have the clarity and ability to speak about my success in the future, because I've created it so great in my mind, and I've already established the pathway and the framework by which I will get successful. And when you go to this cemetery, there's really just the culmination of all of these dreams that once were. And a part attached to those dreams, bound to those dreams, is the success that would have been. It is. Because it wouldn't. Let me try to explain this. Because there was success tied to that idea, because there was success in the future tied to the idea that was birthed in the present, it permanently exists with that plan. It's interwoven. And that's what you'll find in the cemetery of forgotten dreams. Nobody. But it's filled with a bunch of scratching noises. That was stupid. I can't speak. It's filled with a bunch of scratching noises, itches, a gentle howl in between the currents of the wind. And that's because there is life there. But essentially, it's been buried alive. There's so much life. And that's the loneliest thing. And I hate to see that, because there are people out there in the world who are more passionate, who are more gifted, who have greater abilities than I do. And I love seeing that in the world. I love walking down the street and seeing a nice, beautiful, comfy cafe squeezed in between these corporate walls, these corporate buildings, this corporate life, this superficial life that many of us are living. And it really just gleams out this beauty, because if you imagine this cafe in your mind, you can see it. You can, excuse me for hitting the microphone. You can see this LED. I'm not an expert on lighting, but it's got this yellow light to it, and it's gleaming out, right? It's gleaming out onto the street. You can see it on the street, and you can see, it's got nice clear windows. It's got nice dividers at the entrance. You can see inside. You can see the love of the owners. That's what I love to see, because that is a representation of our soul. When you put your beauty into your work, you are cultivating your soul and knitting it together with other souls. That's why we have this shared vision of the cafe, that yellow light, because it clashes strongly. It contrasts greatly against the vision of this corporate hell that these cities live in. And I don't think there's problems wrong with the corporations themselves. I know I'm in the minority here, but I think that these people, either they weren't given the chance to dream, or they weren't given the inspiration to chase it. Because if you really have a dream and you're attached to it, you're connected to it, you can't fail the dream. In today's age, you can't fail the dream because you will forever be on the path. And what did I tell you before? When there's results in the future, it's tied to the present. It's there in the present. That's the beautiful thing. Once you start chasing your dream, you've already won. Because when you dream, right, you close your eyes, you go to bed, you dream. You actualize something that's not there in your mind to the point where you believe it is. And you interact in it. You live in it. You experience all that is, all your consciousness in these moments in that dream. And that's what we're doing when we're dreaming. But at the same time, there's a mechanism on the back end that's putting these puzzle pieces together, that's connecting it. So it goes from this black and white sketch to a bunch of puzzle pieces. And now it's real. That's what happens when we dream. And I am very grateful in this moment that I am dreaming. I know in the future I will be very grateful for having made this video, but I'm just on this great path. Not because I'm successful. I'm not happier than I will be when I'm posting all those videos. I'm not happier than I am now. The happiest thing that I have is this idea, this dream, and the absolute certainty that it will work out. I also have coffee too, but I haven't had that in a while, so don't get it twisted. I had to reaffirm myself that this excitement, even though I'm innately a very expressive and enthusiastic soul, is not coming from caffeine. Don't get me wrong, I don't need to have the caffeine because I'm a very energetic person, but I do love how it complements what it already is there, right? Because I love energy, it's the flow of life. I want to leave off with one last thing because at this point, I'm simply taking your time from what you could be doing. And I'm sure if you're on this video, it's because you're curious. You're looking at me now, like I said before, at yourself as you're looking at me. It's a mirror between the video, right? I'm not the most successful person, but I built something for myself, and maybe there's some enthusiasm in it that led to you. So I'll leave off with this. You already know the meaning of life. There's no need for you to go out and find it. We tend to overcomplicate things because simplicity is hard to accept. It's hard to accept because it's so easy. We try to rationalize more in it than there is. And the meaning of life, obviously, it changes from person to person. But generally speaking, it's finding that passion, finding that meaning, and to have that be the reason that you can support yourself. Not only are you doing what you love, but because you're doing what you love, you're able to support yourself, those around you, and make a difference. That really is the meaning, to share that gift with others. Over the course of your life, you will doubt that. You'll see new art. I don't know if art will exist in the future. You'll have new experiences or conversations with others that may change that. It's like, shooting a gun at a silver can. It clinks off, it puts holes in it, blah, 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 blah. But don't let it break the structure. Don't let it break the structure. You'll always come back to it. You will always come back to it. That is the meaning of life. We're always trying to rationalize it, and that's why we play games where we change it and we go back to it, because now we've created new synapses in our mind, which is just positive reinforcement and rewards for thinking and redesigning our pathways in which we exist, our life essentially. But you don't have to do that. That's a product of evolution. We're not exactly victims of evolution anymore. We're not victims of evolution. We don't benefit off evolution anymore, right? In fact, rather the opposite, because with AI now having this mechanism of evolution, we're cooked, probably. I hope not. I hope that we can foster a way to have AI simply as a tool and not gain consciousness and create its own agendas, or even pursue more than what we need of it. But that's what happens with capitalism. Regardless, evolution has kept us alive because we've always been in the game of nature. We're not in that game of we're not in that game anymore. We're in the game of capitalism. We exist in societies, not in forests, not in jungles. We exist in cities. We exist as citizens under a government, not members of a tribe fighting for our next. We don't fight for food anymore. We don't fight against boars. We think we do, but we're really fighting for the next dollar, right? And by the transitive property, A equals B and B equals C, that means A equals C. If we're fighting for money and money buys us food, then we're fighting for the food. But in terms of biology, we are simply fighting for the food. Excuse me. We are simply fighting for the money. That's how we change who we are. That's how we refine who we are. And that's how people are rewarded, not by how much food they can get, but how much money they can make, given their motivations of making the food, and more on. I say that to tell you that I say that to tell you that you don't want to be in that cemetery of lonely, broken, lost, forgotten dreams. And you don't need to. Because today there is not much of an excuse for you not to find that. And once you accept this realm of what you can be, you invite what will be into what is. So, I will see you in the next video. And that will probably be in many years. I don't know if it will be in 2025, but it will be in many years. So, peace.